I am so out of my depth. And they probably thought, who is this person who's come to stay with us? It all got solved a couple of hours later when slow cooked lamb went into the middle of the table, all these beautiful greens, crispy roasted potatoes. And I sat and just went, this is home.
Today we are talking with Vanessa Baxter from the Fearless Kitchen and St Bart's, and today we're talking about bringing us together with food. Now, when it comes to food, Vanessa, what are some of the ways that we can bring shared meals into our busy life?
I think people get nervous, especially if they're not gourmet cooks or cooking doesn't come easily, about the shared meal and how am I going to do this? And I guess my piece of advice is to not take it too seriously. Just because MasterChef's on television and all these cooking shows and all these amazing chefs are now on our social media all the time showing the perfect dishes or the most extraordinary ways you could create something doesn't mean you have to do it at home. So keep it really, really simple. Keep it casual if that's your vibe, and create an occasion out of it. So just really recently, I'm part of a book club here back in Perth, but we tend to go either to cafes or meet somewhere in a private room somewhere and everyone just has a glass of wine and we talk about the book or over a coffee. And I decided when it's my turn to host, I just want to do it around the table. My friends are like, no, we should bring something. And I'm like, well, I would love to have you around for dinner anyway. And this is the excuse, because those women are all busy women as well. We're all got our own lives and families that we have to connect with. And this way, I already know that we're all committed to that date. So why not have them over for dinner? And it's fantastic because everyone sits at the table. We are talking about the book. That's the hook, but it goes off into all different tangents and lots of laughter and shared memories. And I just think it's perfect. So find just a simple occasion like a book club, a birthday, or some random occasion and turn it into a dinner around a table. And if it isn't your casual, easy go-to to create the whole thing, then do allow people to bring plates. Because that's okay nowadays.
Right. Yeah.
It's all right. Yeah, you don't have to be the hostess of the mostest, right?
We can reinvent the potluck dinner if we need to.
I think so. And I think it's just such a beautiful occasion. I have this memory in New Zealand when I'd first went to New Zealand and I became an ambassador for Ronald McDonald House Charities. And I was cooking with the kids at Ronald McDonald House, and one little girl, she wanted to invite me back to her farm. I had no idea at the time that I was going to be driving 6 hours into the middle of absolutely nowhere. I thought I was going to some little town, but I was literally going to a farm in the middle of nowhere. And then, of course, when I got there, I'd taken my very suburban little cute dogs with me. They had farm dogs and sheep, and it was crazy. I mean, it was deer hunting country. And I thought when I got there, I am so out of my depth. And they probably thought, who is this person who's come to stay with us? It all got solved a couple of hours later when slow cooked lamb went into the middle of the table, all these beautiful greens, crispy roasted potatoes, and I sat and just went, this is home. And they put a red plate in front of me, and that was their way to say, you're special. We appreciate you coming. That's the Thanksgiving plate. And the person with the red plate, we all have to say something about you, which was, I felt so honoured but also embarrassed, but it was such a simple way of saying thank you for coming all this way to visit us and let's share this meal together. And I've never forgotten it. It was the most beautiful moment.
I love that. And I love the idea that there's a red plate that, hey, we've singled out one person to say we're going to honour you and thank you today. I love that. I had friends in Melbourne who had been to America. Yes. And they'd done Thanksgiving over there and they came home and went, I just want to do this. So they opened up their home and they just brought, I think there was 15 of us in total the first year and similar second year. And we did it for like 3 years in a row that we were around for. And it was a wonderful experience. And I got another friend who's American. He does a similar thing, but he has like 100 people in the park and he puts on the barbecue and does all of those things. But yeah, just bringing community around, and food has the ability to do that. And yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to one of my sons last night. He still lives in New Zealand, and he just said, we all have to eat. So we can eat alone. We can take our food and sit in our room. He's flatting at the moment. They have their ups and downs as flatmates, but they get in the kitchen, they cook, they may be cooking something quite different to each other, but they all sit down and eat together. And it just reconnects them. It doesn't matter what they've been arguing about or who cleaned the bathroom or didn't. When they're eating or cooking, they're having a bit of a laugh and they eat together. And he shared that and said it's the reset every time, that one meal a day, which is usually dinner as a student, that they find themselves all together in the house. It's just super important, right?
We've got a message here from Michael that's come through, and Michael says, when I had the kids at my place, at least once a month, we had gone and made homemade pizzas. Even if the kids had their friends over for the sleepovers, they all got involved making pizza toppings. It was awesome, amazing night for all. And Michael, I think that's such a great memory for food. Now, I know for myself, my mum used to make pancakes after church. She would have like everyone back to our house for pancakes as we were growing up as kids.
Yum.
And she would do like pancake batter. She'd throw some savoury stuff in there. She would do like apples in there, and she'd just do normal pancakes with ice cream. And like, it was kind of the event, and it was something that always made not only our family friends feel like home, but like all my friends feel like this was a safe place to come to because it was all around food. What are some of the stories you've had around food? Because like, I think we were just chatting off air around pizzas.
Oh, we did exactly the same as Michael in our family home when the boys were younger. So when they were really little, they just got to choose or come in and prep and put on the pizza topping. So, grate the cheese, chop the tomatoes and all of those things. And then, the salami, and we'd even do it into sort of like halve the salami, quarter the salami, and what shape have you got? So, it's all of that stuff as well, the language around it all. And then they'd get to, choose what they wanted on their own pizzas. And then as they got a bit older, we'd make the pizza bases, and then they got to roll out the pizza bases and choose whether they wanted it thick or thin. And then they wanted to replicate, the commercial ones and put cheese in the rim. Yeah. So it's just, it's creative, it's engaging, it's maths that you can talk about. It's all sorts of soft skills as well that I think, and you just have the conversation and a bit of laughter side by side when you're doing something like that as a family.
Very much so. I didn't realise until later in life that when I was baking, because my mum taught me to bake as a kid, that had someone have told me when I was in school that baking recipes were the same as formulas for science,
maths, exactly,
I would have got it. No one ever put the two together, but they're conversations that you can have around that. Absolutely, love that. Now, Kelly Lee said, such a great memory baking with my siblings when I was younger, now turned into my business. So, and got another great message here as my screen disappears on me.
I saw that as well. When I first arrived in Australia as an international student, I lived in student housing with 5 girls from Malaysia and Singapore. I can already imagine where this is going. So one day the girls were brave enough to ask why I never spent time with them on the weekends. And they asked if that weekend I could join them for dinner. So she came back from her uncle's on Saturday to find a busy kitchen, great smells. Everyone had prepared their favourite dishes and they had a feast particularly for her. Her heart melted and it was a beautiful experience. After that, she spent most weekends with them. I'd be spending most weekends with them as well.
That's awesome. Thank you,
Southeast Asian flavours, delicious, and well done for trusting in your flatmates.
Yeah, very much so. Now, I want you to tell me, we were just having a good laugh on
we
air.
Were.
Tell me about your son's story.
So my son left for university and we had been living in the North Island of New Zealand in Auckland, and he went down to Christchurch and he was flatting there, and some of the guys that came around for this particular dinner were from Southland, so deep south of New Zealand, and real farm boys, and that's where they'd sort of grown up and that was their culture. And my son, of course, had done a lot of cooking with me, and we cook all sorts of different food. So he rang me up and he said, I'm just going to make a risotto, so I'm just checking I'm going to do it right. And he was fine. So the next day he rang and he said, I made the risotto and it was fantastic. But the boys from Southland had no idea what risotto was. So they got flatbread and put the risotto in the flatbread, covered it with mayonnaise and rolled it up and ate it like kind of some sort of burrito.
That's gold.
And he said, I think I'm quite multicultural, Mum. That was a great story. We were actually just reflecting on it yesterday when I was talking to him on the phone about coming on air with you today. And that was something we had a really good laugh over.
I know. Food brings out the memories. It brings out some fantastic memories. Now, we need to wind this up, but you have a food blog which you've rebooted.
I have rebooted.
Tell me about that quickly.
So it still has a New Zealand handle, so sorry to everyone in Australia, but it's vanessabaxter.co.nz. fearlesskitchen.co.nz or thefearlesskitchen.co.nz. And on there are some recipes, and they are some that have actually been taken from my cookbook, which was published back in 2017. And I've started a food blog because I was really inspired when we had a chat and decided to start this food program together, Doug. So there's a food blog on there. I hope people enjoy reading it. It would be fantastic if you follow me. And I have an Instagram as well, which is Vanessa Baxter NZ.
Yep.
So please follow me on there because I'll be starting to post a lot more there. And of course, I do work at St Bart's and I'm on the executive team there. And for me, we have breakfast at St Bart's Mondays and Fridays for all of our residents. And we see them like literally thrive and love that opportunity to sit down with each other for an hour. Volunteers come in, which is amazing, and cook breakfast, and they all get to share, and they share their stories, and they are happy at breakfast.
So
and
good.
even yesterday, Doug, I know we have to go, but yesterday a baker dropped off all fresh pies, and they came in, and I just watched residents in reception all chatting with each other, really upbeat and sharing in that food, and that's just everything, isn't it?
That's so good. That's so good. Hey, we're going to keep the morning moving along. Thank you, Vanessa. I look forward to our future conversations.
Same.
We'll put all of Vanessa's details in the podcast replay. Go to sunshine.com.au to find out more. And Vanessa will be a regular with us coming up. But tell me your food story. I'm going to keep the conversation going here on Sunshine. This was recorded as part of Table Talk on Sunshine. If you want to catch up with the full episode of this, go to sunshine.com.au and look up Table Talk. You'll be able to find it there. Can I highly recommend you go and get the Sunshine app, put it on your phone. You can listen to us live anywhere, broadcasting hope across the world. If you want to listen to our long-form podcast, go to your favourite streaming service. You'll find it there. Or go to the Sunshine app, download it. You'll get it all there. You're with Doug. You're on Sunshine.